I think I just built an AI video editor. Alright, maybe that's a bold claim, but I think what we have here is an MCP agent prototype that replaces an entry-level video editor. And I'm going to show you exactly how to build it, step by step, inside n8n with MCP agent. No Adobe Premiere Pro, no CapCut, just a single prompt, and this MCP AI agent system handles voiceover, visuals, and full video rendering automatically. Here's how it works. I start with a simple message in Telegram like, can you create a story about an orange fox? The duration is around 15 seconds. That triggers the AI agent in n8n and start writing the transcript. Then it breaks the task into 3 steps. Voiceover with AI narration using a text-to-speech tool, AI generated images from story prompts, a final rendered video, timed, edited, and delivered directly back into Telegram. And the simple video edit will be like this.
Deep in the emerald forest, a bright orange fox named Rusty prowls between ancient trees. His keen ears twitch at every sound, the rustle.
And the best part is all just drag and drop inside n8n. No code needed. If you are new here, my name is Andy, and I've uploaded this exact workflow to our community, where we provide all the templates we have made, and we also provide tech support that will make sure to solve 100% of your tech issues. You can grab the template and just import it easily and start producing AI content. So let's dive in and build your first AI-powered video editor with n8n. Alright, so let's get started. This is our story-to-video AI agent. It can help us to generate transcript from our story idea, convert the transcript into audio narration, creating images to illustrate the story, and combine everything together into a finished video. So let's do this. For example, we can ask, can you create a story about an orange fox in forest? The duration is around 15 seconds. Then we can click test workflow. So it's now processing through this AI agent, calling the chat memory from Redis, trying to convert into JSON format. Great, so we got the 15-second story here. Deep in the emerald forest, a bright orange fox named Rusty prowls between ancient trees. Alright, so this is the transcript we have, and let's do this. Okay, please proceed to generating voiceover. Then we can click test workflow. This time it's calling the MCP video clients tool. Converting to JSON. Okay, we got the voiceover here. Let's try to listen.
Deep in the emerald forest, a bright orange fox named Rusty prowls between ancient trees. His keen ears twitch at every sound, the rustle of leaves, the chirp of birds. At dawn, he drinks from a crystal stream.
Nice. That's a pretty good voice. Then we can generate the image. The images. We can click test workflow. Great. We got the first image, the second image, the third one, the fourth one, the fifth one, the sixth one. Great, so we have 6 images in total. Next step, we can ask this agent to create the video. Okay, test workflow. Alright, so we need to specify the video orientation, the subtitles, and also background music. So let's try to specify. To create the video with subtitles, landscape, and the BGM link as we can try to find the copyright-free music from YouTube. Then we can send it and test workflow. Alright, it's sending back the video. Great, so let's try to play this video.
Deep in the emerald forest, a bright orange fox named Rusty prowls between ancient trees. His keen ears twitch at every sound,
Nice.
the rustle.
So this is a quick demo. I'll dive into each notes and all different workflow step by step. So let's do it now. First of all, we are going to set up ngrok to make your local host accessible from the internet. Then we can click this URL, and after you register, under this universal gateway, we choose domain and click to create a new domain. Then we will click this and start tunnel, and we'll copy this. Then we will go to terminal. We can search for terminal here, and we can paste here. This is the URL that we need to copy for now, because we are going to use that for other commands. Then we are going to install the Docker from docker.com and install into your Mac or PC, etc. Then we are going to copy this and then paste it to terminal and execute. Because I've already installed in my Mac, so we can see that network with name, my network already exists. But on your side, you will install it for the first time. Then we are going to run this command here in terminal. The purpose for this is to set up the Kokoro server associated with this network. Kokoro is the AI voice solutions that we are going to use, and we can install in your local host so that you can use it for free. We can try to execute this. Again, we can see this message because we have already installed it. Alright, so you can just paste this command and just install it on your site. Next, we are going to run this, but please change this ngrok URL to the one that you just copied, and then paste it and replace it here. And here we are going to install this 1.8 version for the n8n, and it should have the MCP trigger and also the client tool. For this is the port that we are going to use, so we can just copy this and paste it and try to install. Now we are going to install FFmpeg into your own Docker. So first of all, we will go to Docker, your container, and then this is the container ID, copy and paste it somewhere first. For example, this is a container, and then you will replace this part to this, and then you can just copy this and try to run it here in your terminal. After that, we are going to use the same method to install the yt-dlp for downloading the YouTube videos. And again, you can just copy this container ID and replace this part. So this is the example. So you can copy this and paste it here and try to run it. And then everything is installed. So you have your Docker, you have your local n8n 1.88, you have Kokoro, you have ngrok, you have FFmpeg, and also you have yt-dlp. So everything is ready. Let's dive into the n8n tutorial. Alright, let's get started. Let's have the first node. This is the Telegram trigger node. We can actually set the credentials here. We can click this pen icon. For the access token, we can go to Telegram, search for bot father. This is the username. It's where we can create the Telegram bot. And then we can actually type or click this menu button and type and click this new bot. Then we are going to input the name of the bot, the username, and we will get this token. And then we can just copy and paste it here. Alright. Then we are going to add another node. This is called AI agent. And for beginners here, we'll see the left hand side is the input, on the right hand side is the output. And the middle part is where we will configure everything. So for this prompt, it is referring to the previous node. For example, let me show you the execution history. This JSON message tag is referring to this. We can just drag and drop and put it here. So we can go back and we can click expression and enlarge this. And this is the prompt that we have. You are a helpful story to video AI agent that guides the user through a structured video creation workflow using external tools. Your task is to help the user turn their story idea into a finished video. You work with the following tools in a strict sequence. So we have 3 tools. The first one is the text-to-speech tool. The second one is the image list generator tool. And last but not least, we have the video creation tool. And these are the 4 steps that we need the AI agent to follow. First, we will generate the transcript, then generate the voiceover, then the images, and last but not least, the video. And this will be the JSON output schema. Next, we will have this chat model. So you can choose from different models here. We just choose the OpenRouter one because you can think of it like an aggregator for different chat model. We can actually click this pen icon to set up the credential. So you can go to OpenRouter.ai and then click this menu keys, API keys, create key, then just copy and paste it here. Then we will choose Anthropic Claude 3.7 Sonnet. Of course, there are so many other models you can choose from. As for the memory, in the past we just use the simple memory, but in our use case this time it is not enough for us. So that's why we choose Redis for this. Of course, you can choose other different tool. It's just that we find the Redis one is the easiest to set up. So we can double click this and click this pen icon again. So we can see the password, user, host, port. These are the items that we need to set. We can go to Redis, database, new database, and then we can choose the free one. When we scroll down, we choose this free as well, 30 map. Because we have already created one, so we cannot create another free one. So let's go back, and this is the one that we created. When we click this, we will click connect to database, connect, and this is where we are going to copy and paste the value. So for the user, this is where we will copy and paste it here. For the host, we are going to copy here and paste it here. For the port, this is where we need to copy and paste. And last but not least, for the password, you can click this to view, to show your password. Basically, this part is your password. After you copy, and you can paste it here. Then that's all set. And for section ID, we choose define below. For the key, we will just choose the Telegram trigger, item, JSON message, chat ID to string, and you just input videos here. Okay, so we can click the history. We can click this. We can see the green part is referring to this ID. Okay, and then we just put underscore video and put as key. So you may wonder why we need to put 3600 here. So when we hover over this, we will see for how long the section should be stored in second. If set to 0, it will not expire. So after this 3600 seconds, this section will be expired. And the context window length is 10. Then we are going to use this MCP tool, MCP client tool. And we need to input this endpoint. And I'm going to share with you where we can find this or how we can build this later. Authentication, we choose none. For tools to include, we choose all. Alright, for the next tool, we are going to make sure to have the JSON output for further process. So that's why we need to add another LLM chain, basic LLM chain for that. And now you may wonder, actually we can enable this specific output format here, and we will have the output parser here. We can actually add structured output parser here. Why we still need this? Because according to our experience, we have actually tried this before. Some of the times it may not be consistent enough to every single time to give us the JSON format that we want. So we just turn this off, and instead we just use another basic LLM chain and to do the conversion itself. And this time we're going to add the chat model here. Again, we are going to use OpenRouter Claude 3.7 Sonnet for that, and this is where we are going to add the output parser, because we have enabled this requires specific output format. And when we enlarge this, we will have this input schema, type, properties, image URL, audio URL, video URL, response type. Alright, this is the structure we have. Then we are going to click this expression and enlarge this. Here is the output of an AI agent. Format the following output into JSON format. So there are 5 parts. Response text, it is string. Image URL list, it is an array of strings. Audio URL, a string as well. Video URL, string as well. Response type, so basically it can either be text, image, audio, video. Alright, and for the output, we will just put JSON, but we JSON stringify everything. Let me show you the example. So this is the history. So when we JSON stringify everything, because for JSON it is always referred to the previous node, we just need to stringify this everything to have a better format for further process. All right. On the right hand side, you can see the output after we JSON stringify everything. All right, next we are going to add a switch node here. Switch. This one is for routing items depending on defined expressional rules. So you can see this is for text, this is for image, this is for audio, this is for video. So we choose rules as a mode, and basically this is for text, image, audio, video. And we'll enable rename. This is for text, image, audio, video as well. All 4 items are using JSON output response type. Okay. Then this node we are going to add from Telegram, and then we can search for send a test message. Telegram account, message, send message. For chat ID, we are just using this. You can find it from Telegram trigger and then drag and drop the message chat ID to here. For text, we can find from the convert JSON node, which is this node, and then just drag and drop here. Okay, we are going to drag the output response part, and we're going to use HTML for the parse mode. Let me show you how it works actually. When we click this for the history, you can see this is the ID. We're going to scroll down. This is referring to this. We can drag and drop here. Drag and drop here. For this convert JSON, we can actually drag and drop this part to here. All right. Then for the next one, let me show you here. Still remember the second step. After we generate the transcript, we need to generate the voiceover. So we can actually add another node to send audio. Telegram, send audio. Send an audio file. So we can actually click this. You can see send audio as the operation. Again, chat ID. And then this time we are going to convert JSON output audio URL. All right. This is the audio URL. Then we are going to add another node called if. You can search it from here. If node. We can search from here. If. It's for routing items to different branches. So if it is true, for example, if this part is not empty, it is true. It will be directed to this node. So for this part, it is referring to the convert JSON. If this is not empty, then we will send the message to Telegram. This is send message as the operation. Again, chat ID. We will just drag and drop for the text here. Response text, drag and drop here. So this is the second part. After we generate the audio, it's time for us to generate the images. All right. So we are going to have the image generated from the image tool, but I'm going to talk about this later. So let's suppose that we have already generated the images. We are going to split. So we are going to add the split node here. It's turning a list inside items into separate items. So we can actually input this output URL list. For example, we can drag this part and drop here. Okay. Then we are going to add this loop over items. The reason why we need to add this loop over item, we can actually search it from here, is for splitting data into branches and iterate over each batch. Why we are going to add this? Because the Telegram actually cannot take multiple images at once, so we need to send them one by one using this batch loop. And then we can see the batch size is just 1. So we are going to do it this one by one for the images. So when it is done, we are going to send to the Telegram. When we are going to loop, we are going to add this Telegram node. For the operation, we are going to choose send a photo. Again, same chat ID. For photo, we are just using the JSON output image URL list and HTML for parse mode. And after it's done, so everything is, the loop is finished, then we are going to add this limit. This one, limit, is for restricting the number of items. And you may wonder why we need to add this limit, because after this loop over items, you can see there are 6 items. If we don't add this limit, it will send the text for 6 times. So we need to add this limit and then just put 1 as the max item, keep first item. Last but not least, we're going to send the text message. Use send message as the operation, chat ID. For the text, we just use the convert JSON part, go back, and this is the response text. So after we generate the image, we are going to get the video. Again, we are going to use one of the two in this MCP server, but I'm going to talk about this later. Let me talk about this workflow first. So for this switch node, it is redirected to video. And for this node, we are going to search for HTTP requests. Okay, it's for making an HTTP request and returns the response data. Basically, we are going to get method, and then we are going to get the video from this URL. So that's why we're going to use this HTTP request node. For the URL, we are going to get it from JSON output video URL. So you can drag and drop this. None as the authentication. We can actually click this view for the video. So this is a video. Then we are going to add another Telegram node, and this time we are going to send video as the operation, same chat ID, but this time we are going to enable binary file, and then input binary field. This is the data. We just input data. None for the reply markup, and also for the HTML as the parse mode. And we are going to add another if node. Make sure that it is not empty for this convert JSON response text. If it is not empty, we are going to send a text message from this, drag and drop this. You can see these are the same, and then we're going to send this as a text message for the Telegram. So that's it. That's how we can set up this workflow, and I'm going to talk about how we can set up the individual MCP server and also the workflows one by one. And now let's talk about this MCP video client tool. We can go to this MCP video server. This is the server that we created. So we can see there are three major tools. The first one is the image list generator tool. The second one is text-to-speech tool, and the last one is the video creation tool. And for this trigger, we can find it here. MCP server trigger is for exposing these tools as an MCP server endpoint. So we can click this. All right, for the path, we can put video here or any other thing we want. For example, we can actually put 1, 2, 3 like this. And this URL, the production URL, is changed accordingly. And this is the exact URL that we are going to paste here. This main workflow, MCP video client tool, and this SSE endpoint. SSE refers to server sent events. You can think of it like a server-side HTTP endpoint that enables real-time one-way communication that can push event data to clients over a single long-lived HTTP connection. And in this use case is for connecting to the MCP server that we want to connect to. Again, we can just click this production URL and paste it here. Okay. Then let's talk about these three tools now. The first one is this image list generator tool. And how we can add tools, we can actually click this icon and we can click call n8n workflow tool. So basically we are actually calling another workflow as a tool. We can name it as image list generator, and let's take a look at the description here. We can click expression, enlarge this. This tool generates a list of AI images based on a story transcript. It requires the transcript to be divided into 6-second segments. With each segment turned into an image prompt, the tool takes the full list of prompts and returns an image URL list. So every single second, we are going to generate an image for that. So these are the usage conditions, and this should be the output format, like an array of image URLs generated from the prompts. Alright, so this is the description for this tool. And for the source, we choose database. For the workflow, we choose from list. We can actually click this, and you'll be directed to the workflow. And this is the text to image tool workflow that we are referring to. We can actually click this, and we can see these are the pinned data. So we have the image prompts list. This is the first one, the second one, and we are going to choose define using JSON example, because we would like to have this JSON format for further processing. And we can actually click unpin. For this node, actually we can choose from execute sub workflow, we can actually use this. And for this note, we are going to choose split out. We can actually choose from the image prompt list. And let me click the execution history and show you how it works. So for the first note, we can see there are 6 in total for different prompt list. And we're going to split everything out, drag and drop here. For this next node, we are going to search for HTTP requests, and it is where we generate the Flux image. We will use Together AI for that, and I'm going to show you how you can set this up for the credential. First of all, for the URL, we will choose api.together.xyz v1 images generation, generic credential type, header auth, and this is the account that we use. So we can click this pen icon, create new credential, and we can name it as Together AI account. We put authorization as name. Then we go to api.together.ai settings, API key, this section. You can just copy this API key. But before you paste it as the value here, we need to add bearer space. Let me show you. We have the setup tutorial in our community as well. We can actually scroll down and you can see we need to add bearer space and your API key. After you set this up, we can just save it and choose the credential that you just set. Then we will enable send body and use JSON as the body content type, and choose using JSON here. When we enlarge the JSON body here, we'll see the model, steps, number, height, width, guidance, output format, prompt. Let me show you the history. When you click this, you can see we just drag and drop for this part, and this part is referring to this. Alright, then we can continue to the next node, another HTTP request node, and it's where we are going to download the images. For this, we actually drag and drop this URL, JSON, data 0, URL, drag and drop here. We use get method, none as the authentication, then we can click view. This is the first image, second image. Great. Next step, another HTTP request node is for uploading images to Supabase. This time we're going to use post method, and this is the URL that we're going to use. And I'm going to show you how we can set things up. So we can go back to here, click this. For the credentials, we are going to choose predefined credential type, Supabase API, and we're going to set this up now. You can click this pen icon, and then go to Supabase. So after you have signed up, you can go to dashboard, then create your own project. After that, you can go to storage, new bucket. You can name your bucket, for example, n8n2. Remember to enable this public bucket. Okay. For example, we have this opened. Then we can go to project settings, data API. This is the URL we need to copy, and then we paste it here. So the URL you can see here, everyone will use a different one because everyone will have a different project URL. So you can copy this and paste it here. Okay. Then the storage v1 object, and this is the bucket name. For example, we use n8n, then we need to rename it to n8n. If we use, for example, Indeed Video Editor, we need to rename it as Indeed Video Editor. It depends on the name of your bucket. Then you can just keep this part as the same. It's just the formatting. You can see it's the date for rename it, providing a unique name for the file. And this is the item index. For example, it's number 0. And this is the binary data file extension. It's referring to, let me show you. It is referring to the JPG format. Okay. And then we enable send body, and n8n binary file, input data field name, we put data. Next, we are going to set another node. We can find it here, set, or it's called add field. Let me show you. We use menu mapping, and this is the URL. And again, this part, we need to change it to your own project URL. Go to data API. This is the URL you need to copy and paste it here. Storage v1 object is the same, and the key you can just drag and drop here, this part. Next, we are going to add an aggregate node. Search it here, aggregate. This one is for combining the fields from many items into a list in a single item. Because we split out at the beginning, we need to aggregate it back from 6 items to 1 item. So for this aggregate node, we have individual fields, and for the input field name, we put image URL. This is the name. Okay. Then another part, we are going to add this edit fields node. And you can see after we aggregate, we can return from 6 items into 1 item. For this edit fields node, we use manual mapping as a mode, and we will add the image URL list, which is an array, and it's referring to this. We can drag and drop. Alright, so that's it for this text to image tool. And now let's talk about the second tool, text to speech tool. We can click this, name it as text to speech tool, and we can click the description, expression, enlarge this. We'll use this tool to convert finalized scripts into voiceovers for videos, explainers, or presentations. Please only pass these transcript without story headline or supporting text. And these are the conditions when we use, and these are the do nots for this tool. Alright. And again, we have database as a source. We have the specific workflow, and this is the workflow text to speech tool. Alright, for the workflow input, you can see this text, and it's defined automatically by the model. How it works is that when we click this button, it lets the model define this parameter. Okay, so you can click this icon to be directed to the workflow, the text to speech tool. First of all, again, we will have this executes workflow. This is a node. You can see that it's pinned, and this is a text. This is, again, we're going to use define using JSON example. This is the format that we want, which is a text, a string, and we can try to unpin this. And this node is the HTTP request node, and let me show you the execution. We can actually click this, and we'll input fast API -app, and this is the port, v1 audio speech. Then we put none as the authentication, enable send body. We use JSON as the body content type, using JSON under specified body. And for this part, you can actually take a look at this. For the model, we use Kokoro. This is the model that we can use for free because we're going to host it in local. And input, we can just drag and drop this part for the JSON text. Voice, this is the voice that we choose. Response format, MP3, download format, MP3. And for the voice here, you can actually choose other different voice, female voice, male voice, and you can test it out on Hugging Face as well. You can choose different voice here, try to test it out and see which voice that you like. And we choose speed as 1. You can again change the pace or speed that you want. Stream true, return download link true, normalization. So these are the settings under normalizations. Normalize true, unit normalization false, URL normalization true, email normalization true, true for the other settings as well. So when we can see this part, actually what I mentioned for this part is we just drag and drop, so we can see these are the words for the transcript. Okay, then next we are going to add another HTTP request node. And this part is for posting, uploading the audio to Supabase. We use post method. Again, this is the URL. For this URL, we need to copy and paste from your project URL in your Supabase. So do not use this. You need to copy your own and paste it here. Storage v1 object, and this is the bucket name. Please change it as well. And then for the rest, you can just keep it the same. Supabase API we have set up just now, so you can use that one as well. Enable send body, adding n binary file, and this part we put data as the input data field name. Last but not least, we'll have another set node. This is the edit fields node. It's for returning data. We have manual mapping for that. This is the field that we set, which is audio URL. And again, this is the project URL. You need to copy and paste from your Supabase account, but for the rest, you can keep it the same. For this JSON key, you can just drag and drop here. So that's it for this text-to-speech tool. Last but not least, we are going to talk about this video creation tool. We name it as video creation tool, and the description we can click expression, enlarge it. This tool takes a voiceover, the audio URL that we created, and the image URL that we created, combines them into a fully rendered video. And this is its condition. Only use this tool when both audio URL and image URL list are already available. The user must explicitly request video generation. Do not proceed this step unless the transcript has already been turned into both voiceover and a sequence of images. Okay, so we are going to ask the user to specify the following options before proceeding. So that's why we can see in our previous interaction with the Telegram, we can see it asks us about the orientation, the subtitle, the background music, etc. And this is the output, again, video URL, which is a link to the generated video. Okay. Database from list for the workflow, and we will have a few workflow inputs, for example, audio URL, image URL list, video orientation, subtitle enabled, background music, and you can all click this defined automatically by the model. And actually you may wonder how we can input this workflow inputs. First of all, we'll go to the workflow that we created. This is where we input the execute workflow. We need to choose define using JSON example, and this is the JSON example. After we set this up, and these input will be shown automatically. And you can see this is the audio URL, this one, image URL list, same. So for the rest of the items, also the same. And we can click just this icon to let the model define the parameter. Alright, so for this data is pinned. When the purpose for us to pin the data is easier for us to build this workflow without triggering and enabling the AI agent every single time to trigger the workflow. So we can just pin the data. And of course, for now, I will unpin this for now, because we have already built the workflow, so we can just unpin it to execute the workflow efficiently. The execution history here. The next node we are going to add is the HTTP request node. It's for downloading the audio. We have get method here, and this is the URL. We can drag and drop this part here. None as the authentication. When we click the view,
Deep in the emerald forest, a bright orange fox named Rusty prowls between...
Great, this is the audio. The next node we are going to search. The safe is for reading and writing files from disk. So we're at this node. We just rename it here. Okay. Then we will have the write file to disk as the operation. This is the file path and name, and data as the input data field. Again, this will be the same MP3 file. Next, split out again from 1 item to 6 items. The fields to split out, which is this one, image URL list. For like we include no other fields. Then another HTTP request node. We have get method for the URL. We will just drag and drop this part. We can view these images here. All right. Next, we are going to add the same node again, read or write files from disk. And this time, we put write file to disk, and this is file path and name. And for this, it was our mistake. We should put JPG instead of MP3, but it doesn't matter. For the file type, it will output as JPG here. And we can see that this is the file name. This is just the file name. Okay. The image will still be in JPG. And for the input bundle field, we put data. All right. Of course, you can just change JPG to replace this MP3. The next node, we are going to add another node called aggregate. Individual field, we just put a file name as to input field. And these are the 6 files that we have for the images. Next node, we are going to add this execute command. But no worries, you just need to copy and paste this. The purpose for this node is to load how long that this voiceover MP3 file is. And we can see it's 25.32 seconds. Next node we are going to add is code. It's for running custom JavaScript, but no worries. What you need to do is just copy and paste this. For setting, we can just put run once for all items, use JavaScript as the language, enlarge this. You can just copy and paste this. The purpose for this is to calculate and show you, like for example, this image, the duration is 6 seconds, etc. And the fifth one, the duration is just 2 seconds. Alright, so that's how it works. You may wonder why there are just 5 images here, but we have created 6 images in total. Because as we mentioned, we just want to have 6 seconds for one image, and the duration for the transcript we had is around 25.32 seconds. So we can only afford to have 5 images at most, and the last one is just for 2 seconds. Alright, so for the next tool, we are going to add another execute command node. no worries, you can just copy and paste this. For this part, we are going to save the file txt. This one you can just drag and drop. It's for saving this txt file. So for CAT, it stands for concatenate, and we are going to redirect this content into a file called images.txt. So everything in between here, we are going to redirect into this images.txt file, and UF means end of file. Alright, so let's talk about the next note. This is another if note. So for this part, we can actually go back. When these background music YouTube URL is not empty, we are going to proceed to the next stage. Alright, so we can just basically drag and drop this part here. So when it is not empty, we are going to assign a random string for that. So we can see this is the random string. So for this to string 36, it means it converts it into base 36, which means numbers and lowercase letters. And for this slice 2, we can actually remove this, and you'll see 0 point. So when we add this slice 2, it will remove the 0 and dot symbol. Alright, then for the next note, we are going to have this execute command. It's for downloading YouTube audio. We are going to use yt-dlp, and the format is audio form is MP3, and this is the BGM. Again, drag and drop for this BGM MP3. We will just get the URL from here, drag and drop. Alright. You may wonder why we need to assign the random string, because we just want to prevent from caching. So every single music, every single BGM will have their own unique random string. Then for this note, we are going to add another execute command node. It's for creating like combined video with BGM. We use FFmpeg, concate, and this image tags. This is the Voiceover MP3. Again, you don't really need to build this by yourself. You can just copy it and paste it to your own node as well. BGM. And for this part, we can drag and drop here. And this is the volume for the BGM, just 0.05. If you want it to be louder, you can just increase this number. This part is actually referring to the voice audio, and this is referring to the BGM. For this 0.05, it means it's lowering the volume to just 5% of the original volume. And then for this, it is referring to mixing two audio tracks together, the transcript and also the background music. For this one, duration first, the output audio will end when the shortest input ends. Usually it's like the voiceover. And then for this part, it is the label for the mixed audio output, and we are going to use it here. Then for this part, you can see the ratio and scale, and we can see from this part, as for scaling or cropping the video depends on the orientation, landscape or portrait. Alright, if it's landscape, the ratio will be like this. If it's portrait, the ratio will be like this. And then again, for this shortest is referring to is that we need to ensure the output video stops when the shortest inputs end. It's referring to the voiceover usually. And for this one is the format, and this is the output name for the MP4 file. Then next, we are going to add another if note. If there's any subtitle, then we are going to process. So we can just drag and drop this. If it's true, then we are going to process through this. This is another HTTP request node, get method. We can scroll down and then drag and drop this audio URL here. Non-SD authentication. This is the file. We can
Deep in the emerald forest, a bright orange
So this is the voiceover, another HTTP request node, and this time we use post method. This is the URL for OpenAI using the audio transcription, predefined credential type, OpenAI, and then we can just click this and paste the API key, then just save it. Enable send body, form data, and we'll put timestamp, granularities, words, and then we're going to use whisper for the model. We choose verbose JSON for the response format, and file as the n8n binary file name, and data as the input data field name. Great. Then another node, we will have this code node, but no worries, again, you can just copy and paste, run once for all items. The purpose for this node is to combine the transcript, For this first row, you can see when it's landscape, it shows at 8. If else, it will show as 3. What it means is that when the video is in landscape, we will have 8 words shown each time for the subtitle. But if it's in portrait, just 3 words each time. So for this line, is referring to loop through each item returned by the OpenAI Whisper node, and then this we are going to extract the array of the transcribed words with timestamp, and this one we are just initialize the n array to hold the processed words chunk. Then we are going to loop through the words, stepping by the number of words per chunk, and here we'll get chunk of words, for example 8 words for the landscape, 3 words for the portrait. Then this we're going to push a formatted chunk into the result array. This one is we are going to capitalize each word and join them into a sentence. Alright, then we set the start time of the first word in the chunk and set the end time from the last word in the chunk. And we are going to return a new item with processed chunks in the JSON property. So that's what it means for this code. You can just copy and paste. And then we are going to copy and paste this as well. And for this is to get the array of subtitle chunks, each with words like start and from the previous note. Then we are going to get the video orientation here. Then this one, line 5, is referring to the total width based on the orientation. This one, the max total width is like allows subtitles to occupy up to 80% of the video width, and this is the font size, and this is the estimated width per character per font point. All right. For this part, it means that we're going to format the start time to 2 decimal places, and this one is for end time to 2 decimal places as well. Then for this part, we're going to remove the single quotes from the text to avoid FFmpeg syntax issues. Then for this, we are going to dynamically calculate the font size so text fits within the max width. Then for this, we're going to cap at the base font size. Then we are going to shrink if the text is too long. Alright. Then we're going to return a formatted draw text filter string for FFmpeg. For this part, we just join everything with commas for use in FFmpeg. Last but not least, for this one, we just return the full draw text command string in JSON. Great. Again, you can just copy and paste to your own code node. Then for this part, another execute command node. For this node, basically, is for adding the subtitle, and this we just use FFmpeg. Okay. For this part, we just drag and drop this draw text command. So for this, it means to load the input video file. The name and the path is the output MP4, and for this is referring to the video filter. So we apply the video filter to using this draw text command generated in the previous node, which is the change to FFmpeg code node. Then for this one, it is referring to the copies the original audio without re-encoding. So it's just save time and preserve the quality. And last but not least, this is the new name of the new output file with subtitles burnt in. For this, it means we are going to overwrite the final MP4 file if it already exists without asking for any confirmation. Alright, we are going to add another read or write file from the disk node. So read file this time, and this is the file selector. You can fill this.
Deep in the emerald forest, a bright orange fox named Rusty prowls between ancient trees. His keen ears twitch.
Great. Then we are going to add another HTTP request node. This time, again, we need to change to your project URL, and we use post method this time. But for the remaining part, this part, and this part, you can just remain the same. For this bucket, you need to change to your own bucket. Same credential setting, enable send body, n8n binary file, just input data as the input data file name. Last but not least, another set node, input video URL. For this part, change it to your own project URL, and just drag and drop this JSON key, and we choose menu mapping here. All right, if there is no subtitle, just add this 2. Just remove this 5 nodes and just keep this 2 for this. So you can just get the upload MP4 directly and then upload the video to Supabase, and then just return the data by setting the video URL as the field. Alright, so that's it for this video creation tool. Alright, so that's it for today. We have already covered all the workflows and also the MCP server that we developed for you guys. And if you want to get the template, feel free to join our community for that. And also you can find more than 50 advanced templates in our community. If you want to learn more about different setup for different solutions, APIs, etc., you can also check it out in our community as well. So thank you very much. I will see you in our next video.